I'm Chef Sarah Glover and we're continuing my series in grilling meat over fire. This contraption I have behind me is what they call an Asado, which is from South America. And the amazing thing about this grill is that you have the ability to adjust the grill plate up and down, which is really handy because you're not having to move your wood around or shuffle it in and out. So it is quite a handy little contraption to be able to play around with. So I'm going to lower mine right down because I want to teach you guys about reverse searing some meat. And what I have here is some incredible Wagyu meat. Now, why Wagyu? A lot of you would have heard this around. This is 100% full blood Wagyu meat. So it's been grown on a little island in Tasmania called Robin's Island. We have got a few different cuts here because I thought it would be fun to try these different cuts of meat and see how they hold up against each other. And so Wagyu essentially is a breed of cow, and they have all this incredible marbling in the meat itself, which is all, the marbling is basically fat. So the different cuts of meat that I have here today is we've got a ribeye, I've got a strip loin, I've got a rump cap, and also a filet mignon. Now, they're just different cuts of meat from the animal, and they all basically represent a different premium grade. A real handy thing to use is this meat eater little meat probe. This is a great way of you becoming a pro at cooking your steak. I don't use them. I kind of have gotten to know when my meat is cooked, but this is a really safeguard to, making sure you don't stuff up your beautiful cut of meat, because you definitely don't want to burn this guy. So I'm going to pop my probe in the center of the filet mignon here, and I'm going to set my phone to 130 Fahrenheit, not Celsius. That would definitely be burning it. And basically it's going to attach to my phone, and it's going to let me know where the meat temperature is sitting at, so I know when to turn it and when to rest it. So such a handy little thing to have when you're starting out cooking. But the idea with my Wagyu is that I really want to render all that fat down, because fat means flavor, and you can see in that has just got some beautiful marbling, no hormones added to this meat. It's grain-fed Wagyu, and we're going to slap this down on this grill. So I've got the grill nice and low over our coals. The reason being is I really want to reverse sear this meat. I don't want to do low and slow. I want to reverse sear it. Heck yeah. Hear that? And on goes our fillet. Now, what I have in my pot here is actually a little bit of butter. So I have rendered my butter down, I've separated the milk solids from the fat, and I'm just gonna baste my meat in a little bit of this while it's cooking. Okay, so this guy's looking pretty dang good. You really don't want to be moving your meat around too much. You kind of want to just drop it down and leave it, and really only flip it once. But if you just gotta, and the way that you know that your meat is ready to be lifted is that it will just naturally raise itself off that grill grate while it's cooking. The caramelization on this is insane, and that caramelization is basically the natural sugars in the meat starting to caramelize through the heat, just like burnt sugar basically. It's all the sugars in that meat starting to break down. So to me, this guy is looking like it's done, and I really just want to rest it now. The resting part of the meat is so important. That basically just gives the meat an opportunity for all that heat to settle down, and for all the juices in the meat to basically stay inside the meat, because those juices are flavor. So the cool thing about this is I can actually lift it up and I can just rest it on this side while the rest of that meat continues to grill over there. And if you're wondering what I'm cooking here, I've just got a couple of peppers that I'm grilling down to make and add to my chimichurri. This looks so good. Probably my only thing to say about this grill that I don't love is how thick the bars are that are on it. Not so ideal for reverse searing your meat. You do generally want a thinner grate on it, but I was really excited to give this guy a run for its money, so I decided to keep cooking on it. You just want to make sure that you've that they're nice and like the actual grill plates have had enough like ghee on them or oil on them, that they're nice and clean before you put your meat down on them, because we are just putting it down like raw meat with just salt on it. Really important tips with your meat: you want to make sure they come up to room temperature before you actually start to cook them. You want to make sure, like I said, you rest your meat and give it enough time to actually rest down. You don't want to be buying these like premium cuts of meat only to like kind of, you know, trip at the finish line. All right, so my meat eater comes with this handy app, and in the app it's telling me like the estimated cook time, what the internal temperature of my fillet is, and what the target temperature and also what the ambient temperature is outside. So this is a really handy little tool to have, particularly if you're just learning how to cook steaks and you don't want to, like, you know, undercook it or overcook it. And the more time you give your steaks over the fire, the more time they're gonna have to get all that beautiful smoky flavor. And you really wanna make sure with your fire that you're really giving it enough time for that wood to burn down, and you're not cooking so much over a direct flame, but rather you're allowing there to be a nice coal. And honestly, practice makes perfect with cooking steaks on fire. And don't be afraid to get a nice long pair of tongs where you can like start to move your coals around, you know, manipulate your fire to what you want it to be like, particularly when you're dealing with slightly bigger logs of wood. Like I said, you want this nice coloring on it. The coloring is so key. That is like where all that fat that is in our Wagyu cut of beef, which is like a breeded cow. Essentially, you know, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for flavor. You're paying for that fat, believe it or not, you're paying for fat. Moment of truth, guys. We're gonna start with the ribeye. So you wanna always cut your meat against the grain. Oof. And I actually love to slice my meat up for my guests. And this is just cutting so beautifully, and the color in that, the way it's cutting. Honestly, it doesn't even need any more seasoning, because that fat in the meat has just got so much flavor in it. Holy heck. Okay, I'm done. I'm just gonna eat this. Wow, that is so delicious. I'm gonna do the strip loin. Give this guy, you can see how it's rested really nice, and none of the juices are pulling out of the meat. That's really what you're wanting to look for. You don't want blood to be falling onto your chopping board. If that happens, you haven't let your meat rest long enough, and it's just such a waste of all that beautiful flavor. So essentially you should be able to slice it like this, and you don't even want to be serving a steak so it's like steaming hot either. So here's our strip loin. Still really, really juicy. Lots of juice in there. Okay, it really doesn't need any seasoning. I'm not even gonna use that. So yum. Definitely leaner than the other cut that we just tried. Hasn't got as much fat in it, and that's just because the cut where it's come from, the cow's muscle, has just been working a little harder than this cut itself. So let's go with the fillet here. So this is like an even more tender cut of meat, and we were going for medium rare on this, and we got it. We got that. Again, cutting against the grain. Looking so good. And you can just see how it just pulls apart like that. That's just part of the Wagyu breed, and just all that fat just breaking any of the sinew down. So good. Like I said, you don't want to be eating your meat while it's steaming hot. You're not going to taste anything. It's just going to taste like heat. You want it to be able to like pick it up with your meat and put it in your mouth. And there's our last cup. So yum. We've got the rump. Again, cooked perfectly. I would serve this rump with like a really nice like jus or like a mushroom butter sauce or something, it just it lends itself to not having as much fat as our other cuts of meat, so the flavor is more meaty. And I think this is like the type of cut of meat that you could add a really yummy sauce to it. Still so beautiful, but I do think it needs a little bit of salt to it. Like I said, doesn't have as much fat in it, so it hasn't got as much of that flavor coming into it, but still you're really tasting the actual meat itself. Okay guys, well, I hope you learned something new about grilling different cuts of meat over open fire behind me. I think my favorite top two, well, my favorite would probably be the ribeye, then the strip loin, the fillet, and then probably the rump cut last. But the reason I love this the most is just like so fatty and delicious, and I think the smoke and fire and fat just go together so well. So I hope you've enjoyed this little lesson on grilling over coals. Please give me some comments below if you would like to learn any more tips and tricks on open fire cooking or camp recipes, or you have locations that you think I should go and check out and visit. I'd love to hear from you. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know next time I post a video. So happy grilling, guys!